finally, there's an easier way to improve quickly at golf, and I'm going to share it with you in this video today. This is a different approach from what you've tried before, and the key is to start at impact. Impact is all that counts in the golf swing, and you'll see that on the PGA Tour every day when they're practicing on the range. They all have a launch monitor with them, and they're looking at impact parameters. They're working on impact while you're being told to get your backswing in a certain position, to shift your weight a bunch of different ways, and everything but working on impact. Without focusing on impact, you have no chance of ever improving it. So you need to learn to set up for impact, as you see me doing here, and then learn to move the club through impact like all the best players in the world have done for the last 70 years. They've all moved the club through the same. There hasn't been a great player that has not had the grip leading the club head through impact like you see me showing you here. Now the key is to start first with the setup and learning to set up on your impact plane, and from there you will be able to move the club on a single plane back and through, which makes it a lot easier on your body. So if you have any kind of body issues, problems with your back, and so on, this is going to be a lot easier on your body. From there, we learn how to make pro-like impact like the best players in the world do. And this is critical for becoming consistent at the game of golf and also attaining maximum distance. There's thousands of golf pros online claiming that they have the answer. I know there's countless systems out there, but none of them are based on setting up on the impact plane and then customizing it to fit each individual golfer. And from there, focusing solely on impact and moving the club through impact ideally. Starting with short swings first, as you see me doing here, and perfecting that first along with my help through my coaching app. I help you every step of the way to customize the concept to fit you, fit your needs for the quickest and fastest improvement possible. Fixing and improving your impact is not going to happen when you're working on your backswing, your downswing, you're trying to shallow, or 100 other ideas and tricks. I know the expectation is that when you do this, this, and this, that you're going to get a great impact, but you won't, because your habits are there and formed already that at impact, the club head's passing the hands. And even though none of the best players in the world do that, it's hard to change, and it will never change unless you work on it. And my program starts again with very short swings and then moving to progressively longer swings as you get it down. It's an easy program to follow, and you will improve. So my coaching program helps you learn step by step with easy to follow short videos that guide you to finding your ideal golf swing. The goal is to help you improve as quickly as possible. There's no need to buy countless training aids or new golf clubs. Your existing golf clubs will be fine for learning this easy to repeat golf swing. So if you are ready to finally improve your golf game so you can play the best golf of your life, then join me on my coaching platform. Available in the app stores or on my website, you can get started and do many of the drills at home right now. I am standing by to help you every step of the way. You also gain access to an easy-to-use video coaching platform that allows you also to communicate with other members, and there you submit videos to me for my review, and I guide you in the direction so that you're always working in the right direction. The price costs way less than one golf lesson. Any questions or comments, please put them in the box below. Take care, and I hope you have a great day. So today I'm sharing with you my free guide to swinging on a single plane. And we're going to get started with talking about what it is, what it means to swing on a single plane. And we're going to talk about a few critical setup components, about how you should go about setting up. And then I'm going to share with you a few of my top tips for learning to swing on a single plane successfully. And this is based on over 27 years of teaching this concept in various methods that have been taught. And I'm going to keep things as simple as possible today and share with you the easiest way to get started and the easiest way to help improve your swing. If you're already attempting to swing on a single plane, this video is for you. If you're interested in single plane, this is going to be a very simple way for you to improve your golf game. My goal for every client is to help you play your best golf of your life as quickly as possible. So if we're moving in the right direction, you're going to be improving. That's what I do in my golf schools, and as well as my online learning program, which I just opened up a new program, which is very easy to follow and teaches you actually step by step how to learn and to swing on a single plane. And it allows you also to submit videos for my review, which is a key part of membership to my program. You can find more on that below, but I want to get right into it here, talking about what is a single plane swing and how do we swing a golf club on a single plane. And it should be very simple to understand. If I hold the club here, it's on a plane. You could think of it as a tabletop here, and we're going to try to keep the club on as close to that plane as possible throughout the swing. A conventional golf swing looks something like this, that it starts on this plane and it makes impact on another plane, and it's moving through a lot of different planes or angles throughout the swing. So this is the simplest way, would be to simply do this, make this motion. Now it should be understood that of course there's going to be some deviation from the swing plane due to our body's rotation, and so when you're looking at the swing, we want it to be exactly on that plane. In this area from here to here to here, it should be on the same plane. And you'll see conventionally people are setting up here, and the problem with that is at impact you'll see that every golfer is in this alignment. So the wrists become uncocked or an ulnar deviation at impact, and that creates the issue of having to compensate from setup to impact, as well as trying to square the club face at the same time. So it's very complicated, where here all we're going to do, so our first point that we're going to talk about today is learning to set up on your impact plane. And this is what I help people with who are members of my program, is customizing the concept to fit your own needs, not trying to copy another golfer. I spent years trying to copy the swing of Mo Norman and actually got worse over that period. Currently at 60 years old, I'm playing the best golf of my life, and that's because I learned how to make the concept of setting up and swinging on a single plane my own. So as soon as I fit it to myself, you might follow Bryson DeChambeau, who also sets up and makes impact on the same plane, and he has also a very different swing from any other person who's doing a single plane swing. So if you compare him to my swing, you'd see it's fairly close in a lot of aspects. But again, I really try to simplify things, again, looking for the fastest improvement possible. And so all what we're going to do is learn to set up with the wrists in an uncocked position. And this is something in my schools we're always correcting and trying to find that position, because people tend to try to overdo it, or it's really uncomfortable here when they go to set up here in this position. They feel like they're going to lose distance because the wrists are starting here, and it just feels like there's no way to create speed. Of course, Bryson DeChambeau is one of the longest hitters in golf, and he sets up this way, so there's no truth to the matter that you would lose any speed at all. In fact, most people gain speed with the concept, because what we're doing as we go back, of course, we're cocking the wrist, and then it's a question of rotating, turning the body, and maintaining leverage through impact, which is going to create speed. So there's no limiting factor here. We're not trying to limit the length of the backswing or to keep the hips from turning, as many methods would have you do. And we don't have a super wide stance, because that's going to also restrict club head speed, because it restricts the turning of the body. We're also not going to try to keep the feet flat through the swing. Again, another thing that's going to limit club head speed. And I think it also affects impact and makes it really difficult to have good lag through impact. So getting set up, I'm going to put the club in my leading hand first. I'm going to go like this, cock the wrist up, bring it down, and as to grip, we want the heel pad of the leading hand supporting the grip at the top. So it's something like this. And you can find this step by step in my learning program at setupforimpact.com. It's very easy to follow. But that's a basic idea for you, that you want to give this a shot. And a lot of people go to the range and hit the ball better the first try. Give it a few balls before you give up on it, though, because we are setting up a little different. But if you follow these steps, you should hit the ball really well right out of the gate. So wrists uncocked. From there, we're going to set up. And I would have you set up your normal distance from the ball. So if this is how you normally set up, we're just going to raise the grip up a little bit, and we're going to stand a little bit taller as well. And that's going to also relieve, for a lot of you that have back issues in the golf swing, it's going to actually help relieve some of those issues. Bryson DeChambeau was asked about the Mo Norman swing, and if he had tried it. He said he had, and he said that it hurt his back, and it's simply because of being bent over so much. He said there was no way he could practice much bent over 40 to 42 degrees. And so he researched what's the most upright you could stand in a golf swing, and he found a lot of examples of players who did very well standing more upright. So it's something I've done for a long time. And so we're going to just do this. If this is your conventional setup, we're just going to raise the hands up, stand a little bit more upright. Then we want to see that the club's pointed under the leading arm, and we want to have a little bit of tilt away from the target, which is going to put our head over the back half of the stance here. So we'll be set up like that. When you look from the down the line camera, you'll see that just the trailing arm is on the same plane as the club, up to the elbow. So you'll see me here like this, and you'll see this is a little bit bent as it's going to be going through impact, and then my feet are lined up parallel to the target line. Ball position pretty standard with an 8-iron, a little bit left of center between middle and inside the left heel. So if this is center, I'm about here. And so trailing hand I just put on to fit. And I use an overlapping grip, but my program allows for interlocking, overlapping, or 10-finger. So then besides that, to find our distance from the ball, again, it's really critical that you find out what distance from the ball fits you. I made the mistake of trying to copy Mo, and he stood very far from the ball, and that's what really ruined my game, actually, among other things. That distance from the ball and trying to keep the feet flat and the knees bent just cost me all my distance and consistency. So I'm just going to set up. Once I'm set up in the right position, all I need to do is make a few swings back and through, and then I can see this is where I was hitting the ground. You can actually measure this. I think it's about 18 inches for me with an 8-iron, and then I would step up to the ball, and that's my distance from the ball. And then just go ahead and hit it. Perfect golf shot. So I'm going to talk about in a second how to get started. I wouldn't start with a full swing like I did, but you certainly can. I don't place a lot of restrictions on what people do. Again, most of what I teach as far as how to set up and how to swing is customizable to fit every individual. And I realize I have clients who are teenagers all the way up to 90-some years old, and everyone has different needs and moves differently. That's why we can't copy the swing of one individual. And it's a mistake, especially to copy a concept or a person whose swing in the 70s was nothing like how they swung in the 30s. Again, we're all different. I wouldn't expect a 70-year-old to swing like a 30-year-old. And so we want to do what protects the body, and we want to learn to move within your own abilities and keep it as simple as possible so that you will improve it as quickly as you can. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Click the subscribe button below this video. Hit the bell to accept notifications so that when I release new videos that you'll be informed. So at the end of this video, I'm also going to be answering some common questions people have about golf clubs and training aids and stuff like that. But we're going to get right into learning how to swing. So the first part was about how to set up, and now we're going to talk about learning to swing, and this is also critical. A lot of people play better very quickly by learning to set up on their impact plane, and part of that is then as we start making swings is to see where the club's moving through impact, and that's where in this case the down the line camera, if I slow it down, and that's what I do when you send in videos as members of my program, I analyze that and I make adjustments and help you and direct you to exactly what you need to do. So I send back your video with lines on it, and then a voiceover which shows you and directs you exactly to what you need to do. So, and as I said, a lot of you will do better once you get the setup. And then, though, we want to make some adjustments and learn how to improve impact to make your swing consistent. So my goal is that you can go out every day and consistently play decent golf without the fear of embarrassing yourself, you know, where you just can't hit a ball and all that. We want to greatly reduce the bad shots. Everybody hits bad shots, myself included. Every top player, you see Scotty Scheffler, world #1, hits bad shots, hits it in the water, just not as often as some of the other people. But everybody has that, and so we just want to reduce that, become a little bit more consistent. So as you get set up, once we're set up and we get in that position that we talked about, we're going to want to start making a few swings. And one of the best things that I've found, you see in some of my other videos, I talk about the divot board. I'll put a link in up here. The divot board is really helpful because every swing, it shows you where your club makes contact with the ground. Now, this is one of the most important parts of hitting a golf ball from the ground, is we need the sole of the golf club to make contact with the ground, starting where the ball is, and then past the ball. And so to do that and to practice that is really critical. So as you're getting started here, I would start you out with some really short swings. And I have a series of drills. Basically what you do, you perfect the first drill, which has you moving from here to here. And I know it looks really simple, but most of my members need to send in an average of 8 to 10 videos to get that part perfect. But here's the idea. If we can perfect this part of the swing here, then we can perfect a longer and ever increasing longer swings. But if we can't perfect the short swing, we'll never perfect the long swing. And that's from over 38 years of teaching golf. I've never seen anybody perfect impact working with full swings. And so we need to first perfect it here. So my clients that work on this and learn to do that, and I know it looks easy, but feedback is necessary to make sure we're moving the club in the right direction on a single plane, but also that we can get the hands leading through impact, as well as the body rotating as much as your body will allow. And what that does is it creates an impact area where the club face is barely rotating. And you can see if you hold the club in your hand and you move the hands ahead, you can see there's very little face rotation. Now if you do this, you see a lot of club face rotation. So it's really super critical that we get the hands leading through impact. That also creates a shallow, flat spot through impact, a straight path through impact. And we're talking about this part of impact. So not out here, but right here, from here to here, it's going to be straight, square, shallow. It enables us to hit the center of the face instead of low on the club face, and it gives you more club head speed due to parametric acceleration. And that's simply, and I talk about that in other videos, but it's really as long as we're rotating and we have lag, that's created through proper mechanics, not getting to a position and hitting. The trailing arm for most people is the nemesis that's creating all the problems, because people go in and they're doing that. So the right hand is trying to hit, where the job of the trailing hand, is to hold the club back, kind of like holding a slingshot back, and then letting go at the right moment. Letting go, and that's training, letting it go, and it's like a whip, and the club has more club head speed that way. So getting started to learn that, and we need to learn impact, and that's why my method's called Set Up for Impact. We need to learn how to set up for impact, and then we could take it one step further so that you can play the best golf of your life, and we're going to just move here, from here to here, and practice that. And when you can do that, we'll move to the ball, and we'll hold the finish here. And we want to see this, a straight line relationship with the club, the leading arm, the leading leg has straightened, my hips are turned, my body's turned. And very difficult for people to learn this without feedback. So if you're a do-it-yourselfer, you could use a camera compared to what you see me doing. If you want my help, again, setup4impact.com is a place to go, or visit one of my schools, which include often a 1-year membership. And once we can do that, I'll also have you do some trailing arm versions as well as leading arm. Doing that, I'll use the divot board a bit for that as well. Once you can do that, then we'll make some half swings. Again, focusing on hitting the ground in the right spot. And then we'll just go here. Perfect. I love to see those go dead straight. Very helpful. And then we'll do a 3/4 version where we're going here. And again, for all of these, I'm actually focused on hitting the ground in the right spot. So it's here. And then stopping there. And then the full swing, again, I would be working on swinging all the way through. Again, focusing on hitting the ground in the right spot, but moving slowly. It's not at full swing speed right away. It's just like that, really easy. That was perfectly straight. And so we'll see a lot of people trying to swing on a single plane have been told they need to take it inside because that's what Mo did, or that's what they think is biomechanically correct. But if you've seen as many people as I have on video that have tried that, you'll notice that 90 to 95% of them, they take it back here and they come in also from inside, which for some people sounds great, but it actually has the club moving to the right of target through impact. And the problem with that should be clear. To get the ball to the target, you would have to close the club face somehow. It's the only way. You can't come from inside and hit it at your target unless the face is closed. Now, some people will say, oh, we'll just stand open. But again, it gets into that game. How much do you stand open? And with the path going away from the body, the hands are always going to flip. And that's going to cause instability, inconsistency, and bad golf shots. And I know you'll hit once in a while some good ones, but the key is we want to hit as many good shots as possible. We want to hit 9 out of 10 good shots, not 2 out of 10. And so if you're hitting 1 shot out of 4, or 1 out of 6, or 1 out of 10, or 1 out of a whole bucket, good, there's a major issue. And so when I look at videos from my clients, I'm looking at seeing that the club is moving back. If we draw a line here up from the club head through the shaft, you can see from the down the line view from this camera, it'd be up through here. We want to see the club then move on that same line and then be close to the line or parallel to that line up here. It'll be a little bit above the line because the leading shoulder, which is a big controller of the swing plane, is actually rotating out. You see it rotates around my spine, which puts the club here parallel to the swing plane. And then when I come back down here, when it rotates back to its starting position, the club's back on plane. And from there, impact, and it releases on plane. What you'll see, and what I did in the past when I was trying to swing like Mo, is the club went in here, and I was supposed to do this like Mo did, but Mo was left-handed, controlling with the left side of his body. So he's one of only a few that I've ever seen be able to do that. And what most people are doing then, of course, is that, and that's what I did. So it took me a long time. I have to actually feel like I take the club to the outside, and it puts me right on that plane perfectly. And I also feel like I go through to the inside. I'm not, but that's what it feels like. And that's why I use video, because video doesn't lie, tells you exactly where you are, and it helps you work towards a neutral swing path, which is what we are looking for, is as close to neutral as possible. So I'll use video and a launch monitor sometimes when I'm practicing, and just to check it and see what it looks like. Another one dead perfect. So I'm going to talk next about how to hit different clubs, and then some short game shots, and then I'm going to answer a few common questions. So I have a few clubs here. a driver, a 5-wood, a 5-iron. The 8-iron you saw me hit, but I can hit it again. And I have a wedge here. I don't know which one. I have a 60-degree wedge. So all I'm going to do is adjusting again the same position here, the same alignment of the club. I'm just going to set up. The ball is a little bit more in the middle here with this club. And sometimes camera position, the lens can make it look different than it is. But and then I'll always make a practice swing trying to get a feel. Again, I feel like I'm taking it straight back on a single plane. Straight back. Straight through. It was a nice lob wedge. About a half swing. And you'll see, so as the clubs get a little bit longer, the ball position moves a little bit forward, and I stand slightly farther from the ball. But I'll use practice swings to find my distance from the ball, check my aim, get set up. Nice 8-iron, dead straight. I find it pretty easy to adjust from club to club here with my setup for impact method. The swinging on a single plane makes it pretty easy. I also don't find it necessary for the same length club concept. I do have some clients that love it and it works well. If you go that route, make sure you get fit for it and try a lot of different shafts and check your distance gapping between irons. I have conventional length clubs, and these are the Callaway AI Smoke, which I really like, and I was fit for these at Club Champion, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. So 5-iron ball is a little bit more forward. Get set up. Another beauty. Then we got the 5-wood here. This is also the AI Smoke 5-wood. Nice 5-wood, and then we'll hit the driver. Now you can do my drills. You'll find on my website, setupforimpact.com. You can do the drills with any of your golf clubs, anywhere from driver to lob wedge, and it's pretty easy to figure out then how to hit each one. The driver will just have the ball off the left foot, so more specifically the ankle, off the leading leg. Sorry for the lefties out there. I try to say lead and trail. And that's for a standard height. If I want to hit a little lower, I'll play it back a little bit. Distance from the ball is going to be the most. I'll use impact labels for figuring out where on the club face I need to hit the ball, and that helps a lot. And make some practice swings. You can kind of see where you're making impact as well. Otherwise, to me, it's about the same swing. The driver, I'm just going to take it easy on this one. Not really warmed up for that. The beauty, little fade, which I really like. And I try to hit most shots nowadays with a little bit of a fade. Just it's easier than trying to be perfectly neutral on every shot. It's easier to be a degree or two open, and that way if you miss, they go straight, so you're not risking a two-way miss. With putting, again, pretty individual, but again, single plane, very much single plane. If I line up at the tree I've been hitting over, again, you'll see that the club is in that same position. I'm currently a little bit, almost slightly left hand, lead hand low. But again, it's the same concept there. So in a minute, I'm going to talk about some short game shots and then answer a few questions. So for short game shots, which I cover in my schools and my online program, we're also going to still be setting up the same way, but we will preset the body open, especially when we play the ball back in our stance. So for a chip shot, we'll stand a lot closer and do something like that. For a little bit more of a pitch shot, this is a lob wedge. Again, back in the stance, I'm going to stand open. And then for a standard pitch shot, ball in the middle, Again, I'm totally wrist uncocked, set up on my impact plane, and practice some shots like this. That's a simple pitch shot. I think one of the biggest benefits of single plane, really the wedge game is a lot easier because we don't have to account for the distance change of when the club starts here and goes there in a conventional swing, starting here, going through there. That tends to hit fat and thin shots. If we get moving properly and set up on our impact plane, it becomes a lot easier. Even hitting a lob shot, we're still going to be that way, or a bunker shot, we're going to be set up that way, and just do something like that. It's really easy through the game. Same concept, set up for impact. It makes golf a lot easier. One of the most common questions that I get are pertaining to golf clubs and the need for golf clubs that fit the single plane. And again, you should be thinking that the swing plane and what counts for golf clubs is where they are at impact. And so if you set up here previously and made impact there, and now you set up there and make impact there, it hasn't changed anything pertaining to the golf club. In fact, if your clubs were fit to you, you should be able to use the same golf club. I do recommend trying the Jumbo Max grips, and I have fitting instructions or ideas as well as a discount code on my FAQ page, setupforimpact.com/FAQ. And there you'll find a section about grips. I really love them. These are the Zen Light grips, and they're somewhat thicker than conventional grips, but I find they fit the hand better. And since we're not manipulating the grip and the club through impact, to me it's a no-brainer. Again, I recommend trying a couple first before diving in. As far as getting fit for clubs, if your clubs haven't been fit to you, or if you need new clubs, the best way to go is at Club Champion Golf, and you'll find the links on my website to that and to this concept. But what they do is the most important part of any club fitting is the shaft. The shaft is critical, and that's something you can't do online. I know people will take your measurements online, and it's really absurd to do a fitting that way, but people still do it, and I'm really saddened by the amount of money people spend on golf clubs doing an online fitting or a phone fitting or something that's not in person, simply because it's 100 times better. Even if you can only go to a PGA Superstore or something else, there at least you can try 10 or 15 different shaft combinations and club combinations, while at Club Champion you can have thousands of combinations. You're not going to hit all of those, but they're using a TrackMan to measure the results of every shaft that you swing, and very quickly they can weed out that this one's too soft, this one's too stiff, this one has too much torque or not enough, the ball flight's too low, and they know which shaft is going to provide you with a better ball flight with a proper amount of spin, and they can get it dialed in fairly quickly. And it's something I think that it's critical for people to do if your goal is to play your best golf ever. If you go that route, use my name Kirk Junge as your referral, and that way they'll know where you're coming from, that you're coming from me. They're not going to try to change your swing or talk you into anything. Not that they would, but it's always better to be referred by a pro because they know somebody may be looking at some point over their shoulder to see how they did with the fitting. I've never had a problem. In fact, I've had people go there to get fit and actually be told, hey, first they measure your club and the performance and say, hey, we can't really beat that. So, or they might just make a tweak to the lie angle. So that's after they fit the shaft and they find the shaft that works best. So with this shaft, which I have the steel fiber, which fits me, we tried all the different club heads on the market, from Titleist, TaylorMade, PXG, Ping, Mizuno, Zrixon, and of course the Callaway. And the Callaway gave me slightly better results than the others. But honestly, with the shaft, I hit them all pretty good. I just hit the Callaway a slight bit better. And that's how I ended up with that. They fit me for length, and then they built the clubs with these grips to fit me perfectly. The same thing with the Woods. Find the best shaft, and then that's critical. And with the driver, I probably tried 25 shafts at least to find the one that's perfect. Now I love it. Now I've been using it for almost 5 or 6 years, and in fact, I take it with me. When I buy a new driver, I just pop that shaft in, and it works like a charm. Really important that your club's fit if you want to play the best golf of your life. Oh, one other question I get a lot, and you'll find a video on my channel here about why I no longer swing like Mo Norman, but I get questions all the time, or get asked if I teach his swing. Don't copy Mo or teach his swing, as I find it's extremely unnatural. And when we start doing something unnatural, you start going down a rabbit hole where you're working on the swing for years and years and years without improvement. And I did it for so many years, I'm embarrassed to even talk about it. But I really honestly thought at some point I would get it. And I had periods where I hit the ball really well, but most of the time it was 50-50, and I never hit it really very far and not far enough to compete. So doing it my way the last few years, I've been playing the best golf of my life at 60 years old, won the National Seniors Championship for the USGTF last year, shooting 4 under par. And it's really, this concept is really simple to follow. So again, if you have any questions, pop them in the box below. Feel free to contact me. Check out my learning program, setupforimpact.com. You'll be glad you did, because I'm going to help you play your best golf ever. And that's my goal, and I want it to be as fast as possible. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.